And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, Monday night, July the 20th, 2026. Where is the time going? This is the Start Spreading the News Yankee Show, part of the Start Spreading the News Yankees site. We are the very best Yankee site that's out there. We all know that. We put up original articles all the time. Sometimes people read our site, see the great stuff that we write, and then they copy it. And sometimes they give us props. Sometimes they say, we found this information on Start Spreading the News. But oftentimes they don't. But that's what happens out there. They don't come to get bad information. They come to get great information. Imitation is the sincerest form, of course, of flattery. So let's begin by saying, let's make today a great day. How do you make your day great? You appreciate the world around you. You look at the good and you bring it into your heart. You smile. You say, even in the worst moments, there is good. Find the good, cherish it in your heart, and then share it with others. If you can't find any good, create some on your own. Do something nice for someone else. And remember, when we give good, it comes back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. So give good, give love, give kindness, give understanding, give empathy. So what we're going to do today, my dear friends, is we are going to talk about the Yankees. Well, that's a surprise. I'm going to look at some Yankees statistics in brief, comment on them, and then what we're going to do is we're actually going to have some fun. We're going to look at some old baseball cards. I figured, there is enough negativity about the Yankees. I perpetrate some of that negativity because I'm frustrated and bored with the Yankees. They're not fun. They're not fun to watch. I know they won yesterday. Big home run by Jazz Chisholm in the bottom of the eighth. And that gets everybody excited. But the Yankees winning a game 2-1 over the Dodgers doesn't exactly say to me, oh, yeah, they're back. They're good. I've been making this point, too, as well, a lot recently. The Yankees often play with no emotion, except when they are self-congratulatory. Oh, when somebody on the team does something great, that person celebrates. Jazz Chisholm, for example. Oh, my goodness, look how great I am. I hit a big home run. I'm a superstar. But when they do things poorly, they oftentimes disappear or are short with the media. I was surprised that so many people took Trent Grisham at his word in the first game of the series when he obviously was jogging on the base paths. And he was like, yeah, I was running hard. Come on. We've seen players run hard, and Trent Grisham was not running hard. So since the beginning of June, the Yankees in June went 12-14, and in July so far, they're 7-7. So since the beginning of June, they are 19-21. Since the beginning of June, the Yankees are a 500 team, just slightly below. Does that scream to you world champion? Or does that say, Dr. Sem has been right all along that the Yankees don't build great teams. Instead, what they do is build teams to be better than pretty good. The Yankees build teams to be kind of pretty, somewhat okay, because they know that will get them into a pennant race. Of course, everybody's in a pennant race. And that will most likely get the Yankees into the playoffs. And the Yankees believe that anything is possible in the playoffs. And they have many, many fans who fervently support that idea. I just want them in the playoffs, they say. As long as they're in it, anything can happen. Well, they've been in it a lot since 2010 and haven't won it because they're not built to be great. They're built to be pretty good. Brian Cashman does a great job at building teams to be pretty good. He doesn't do a good job building teams to be great. That's just a fact. And the Yankees are going to make the playoffs because the American League is so terrible, and the Yankees are pretty good. And you can see by the stats I'm going to share with you, all from Katie Sharp's Twitter page, that illustrate this fact. There are some things to really be excited about regarding the Yankees. They had 3 walk-off wins before the All-Star break. Last couple inning wins before the All-Star break in Washington. Look how great they are. They come back. And they'll do that from time to time. They won late against the Dodgers after dropping the first 2. Wow, look how great they are. And then they're going to frustrate you because that's what teams that are pretty good do. They're going to look great. They're going to look terrible. And the Yankees alternatively look great and look terrible. But my frustration with the Yankees is this is how it's been every year of the Boone era. This is how it's designed to be. And they're not great fundamentally. They're not a great baseball team to watch. And in fact, I think they're quite boring. And if you have fans like me who've been fans for 100,000 years, since 1977, and we're bored with the Yankees, you have a problem. But the Yankees don't care because the games were sellouts over the weekend. As long as people come in, they don't care if they're diehard fans, as long as they're spending money. So let's look at Katie Sharp. This is from her Twitter page. The most recent tweet as of now, it's about 12:20 on Monday. The Yankees have 16 wins when tied or trailing in the 8th inning or later this year. That's the most in the AL. Well, there you go. Here's one that she forwards from Ryan Garcia. Jazz Chisholm's clutch rating by season. 2025, negative 2.2, worst in the MLB. 2026, 1.82, positive, second best in the MLB. Interesting, right? There's been a lot of talk over the years about clutch. And I'm a firm believer that over time, most players perform basically as they do during the regular season in clutch situations. There are some that seem able to rise, and there's some that seem to wilt a little bit in big-time situations. But boy, if that doesn't show it, right? One of the worst players and one of the best players. And I bet you next year he'll be somewhere in between. He has had some big moments. He's also had some terrible moments. He's a frustrating player because at times you love him to death because he's so great. And then at other times you're just baffled and can't imagine. This guy's sucking on a lollipop, or he's lollygagging, or he's not throwing the ball hard, or he doesn't know the rules. This is what the Yankees are, though. Jazz Chisholm epitomizes who the Yankees are. They look great. They look terrible. They make a great play. They miss the simple play. They make something look simple. They make the simple look hard. Again, when you're designed to be pretty good, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a team that's pretty good. Next stat from Katie Sharp. The Yankees have 10 home runs in the 8th inning or later that gave the team a lead. That's the most in the MLB. Jazz Chisholm Jr. has 3 of them, tied for the most in the MLB. We just talked about that. But then, on the other hand, after his 5th inning strikeout yesterday, Anthony Volpe is now 1 for 20, 0.050. He's batting 50. And has 9 strikeouts with 2 outs and runners in scoring position this season. I mean, we've been told for years Anthony Volpe is going to be great. And he's 1 for 20 this year in big spots. Yankees' last 10 home games. 1 win, 9 losses. -41 run differential. Seasons where the Yankees had a span of 10 home games with 1 win or fewer and outscored by 40 or more runs. This year, 2026, 1986, and the only other time, 1912 and 1911. So, the new Yankee Stadium has one of those 10-game stretches. The refurbished Yankee Stadium had one of those, and Hilltop Park had 2 of those, but not the old and original Yankee Stadium. That never happened when the Yankees were great. So, some fun information. I also want to touch real briefly on Gerrit Cole. My dear friends, people were criticizing Gerrit Cole for demanding the baseball or saying, I can get the next guy out. That is what you want from your pitcher. You don't want your pitcher when the manager comes out to say, oh, no, I can't do it. And some people are advocating, which bewilders me beyond any shadow of any doubt. How can you criticize a Major League Baseball player for saying, give me the ball? As I noted in an article, a Perspectives article last week, the whole Rocky movie genre is based on the fact of a guy, Rocky, saying, I can do it. I'm going to get up when the going gets tough. He gets up in the 14th round in the first fight. Somebody responded to that, and they're like, well, you know, he didn't have Brett Hedrick in the bullpen. Has nothing to do with Brett Hedrick in the bullpen. It has to do with the fact that we celebrate heroes who get up. Kerry Strug in the Olympics, making that grand acrobatic during the Olympics gymnast thing when she had like a broken leg. I'm going to do it. That's what we celebrate. Willis Reed with the Knicks champions in the early 1970s. John Riggins in the Super Bowl says to Joe Gibbs, his head coach, says, give me the rock. Give me the ball, coach, when the playoffs start. We'll win if you let me run. That's what we celebrate in sports. The players who say, give me the ball. And some people are criticizing Gerrit Cole, saying, oh, how dare you tell your manager you think you can get the next guy out. How do you think Gerrit Cole got to that point? How do you think Gerrit Cole became one of the great pitchers in the game? Do you think Gerrit Cole became one of the great pitchers by saying, yeah, coach, I don't think I can get that guy out. I think he's better than me. Maybe some fans don't know what it's like to compete as an athlete. But athletes do not say, I can't do it. I ran 27 marathons. There were times in every race when there's a big part of me that's saying, just stop. What are you, crazy? 5 more miles. You've run 21 miles. You still have 5.2 miles to go. It'd be easier just to stop. But there's a bigger part that says, no, I'm not going to stop. I am going to conquer. I am going to do it. That's what an athlete says. That's what an athlete does. And people are saying, I would have preferred if Gerrit Cole told the manager he didn't think he could do it. The day my ace pitcher tells the manager, I don't think I can do it, coach, is the day that guy's not an ace pitcher anymore. It's the day that you don't trust him in any big spot anymore. Self-doubt? Great athletes have confidence. That's why they're great athletes. I can do it. And do they always do it? They do not. Did Rocky lose to Clubber Lang in Rocky 3? Of course he did. Did he come back and beat him? Yes. But none of that's the point. The point is we celebrate the guy who gets up, the guy who's willing to give it all. We cheer that scene at Yankee Stadium when you see Thurman Munson hobbling on the ground. Did Thurman Munson then get up and go, hey, coach, yeah, I'm kind of don't feel good. Kind of hurt. I don't really feel my best right now. There might be a catcher who feels a lot better than me. Maybe you ought to take me out. If he did that, would they show that on the TV, on the big screen at Yankee Stadium? Would they show that as one of the great moments of Thurman Munson's career, the one that defined him as a player? Yeah, take me out, coach. Did John Fogerty sing, take me out, coach? I'm not ready to play today. No. The whole concept of Gerrit Cole saying to his manager, I can't do it, is anathema to the whole idea of professional sports. Did the goalie for Argentina in the World Cup yesterday take himself out of the game because Spain shot 9,000 times on the goal and he dove all over the place? Did he say, I'm getting a little tired. I don't know if I can stop the next one. Maybe you ought to take me out. Now, eventually they did score on him after Spain shot like 97,000 times. Argentina eventually lost, but that goalie was in there the whole time. He didn't say, I think I'm getting tired. I don't know if I still have it. Not quite as sharp as I was, in the first 20 minutes of the game. We're now in the second extra time or whatever they call it. I think I'm a little tired. I want to come out. Think about it. When have we ever glorified, mythologized, or anything the player who says, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to watch from the bench. In fact, during the game when the Yankees played the Red Sox and whatever it was, 03 or 04, whatever it was, I think it was a July 4th weekend when Jeter dove into the stands and John Flaherty had the big extra inning hit to win it. People were contrasting Jeter, who dove into the stands, with a player on the Red Sox, Nomar Garciaparra, who didn't want to play. And they're saying, here's a hero, Jeter, and here's a guy who's not so much a hero, Nomar. I don't think I want to play. You cannot criticize You cannot criticize Gerrit Cole for saying, give me the ball. You just can't. You can criticize the catcher who's catching his things, his pitches, and who might be able to say, he's not really missing well anymore. I don't think he's got quite as much command. The catcher should say that to the manager as they walk out to the mound. So the manager has it in his head that my pitcher doesn't quite have it anymore. Well, that would make sense. You could do that. But to blame the pitcher for wanting to stay in the game It's absurd. Well, he should have known he was losing it. Listen, I pitch. I know when I don't necessarily have my best stuff. But do you think I say to the manager, I don't quite have my best stuff? No, because I've pitched enough innings in my life to know that even without my best stuff, I can still get guys out. Because that's what athletes do. Do I always get them out? No. Do I sometimes get them out? Yes. Do I probably get them out in big spots more often than not? Yes. You have to have the confidence in your ability to get the batter out. If you don't belong on the field. The manager should be watching the pitcher. The manager should have enough understanding of the game and his pitcher and his mechanics to say, I think he's leaving that pitch up. I think his stride's a little shorter. I think his arm is dragging. I think he's lost a little velocity the last few pitches. The pitching coach is sitting right next to the manager or should be talking to him. He should be looking at the pitcher going, I'm not quite sure he has it anymore. There should be other coaches that are advising and watching all this going, it might be time to take Gerrit Cole out. But if the coaches, the pitching coach, the manager, and the catcher do not know it's time for the pitcher to come out, the problem does not lie with the pitcher. The pitcher is going to say, especially one who has been as successful as Gerrit Cole, the pitcher is going to say, give me the ball. Do you think you can get this guy out? Of course I do. How many batters over the course of Gerrit Cole's career? How many games over the course of Gerrit Cole's career? Do you think that when he warmed up in the bullpen, he didn't necessarily have his best stuff? The answer is countless. It's a whole bunch. We've heard stories about this many times. On the day that so-and-so threw his perfect game, when he was warming up in the bullpen, he had nothing. Nothing was working. And he said to the pitching coach or the catcher or whomever, I'll be lucky to get out of the first inning. Well, keep somebody loose in the bullpen because I ain't going far today. We hear stories like that all the time. And yet there are people out there, Yankee fans, that say, Gerrit Cole shouldn't think like that in a big spot. Gerrit Cole should know that he might miss a pitch and give up a home run. No, that's not how Gerrit Cole is wired. Because he's wired to believe he can get guys out. Because that's what great pitchers do. That's what mediocre pitchers do. That's the way athletes think. I got this. I can do it. I can and I will. I can overcome. Because part of being an athlete is overcoming. Period. Do you know how many training runs I went on over the course of my marathon career? 15-mile runs, 18-mile runs, 20-mile runs, 22-mile runs. We're in the first mile or the 11th mile or the 9th mile or the 5th mile or the 16th mile. I just said, I don't have it. And then I ran 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 miles more, feeling great because I persevered and I ran through it. Maybe the people criticizing Gerrit Cole don't know what it's like to be an athlete. They don't know what it's like to compete at the highest levels. And I don't compete at the highest levels, but I certainly compete. I know what it's like to compete. Maybe they don't know that. Maybe they've never been in those situations. Maybe they've never tested their intestinal fortitude, their mental toughness, their physical strength that they pushed through when they thought they had nothing left in the tank. That's what athletes do. The other day, I was paddling a kayak down at the beach. That's why I have this beard. It's not really a beard. It's just a few days growth. I just said, you know what? I think it's kind of fun. I'm going to let it keep going for a day or two. It itches, so I'm getting tired of it. But if I can persevere through the itching, and I can't say that I will, and this has nothing to do with athletics, I might keep it for a little while. Odds are the next time you see me, it'll be gone, but I don't know. But I paddle around this island. It's like a mile and a half to paddle around this island. And when I do it, I'm usually around 30 minutes. Last time I did it, well, 2 times ago, it was 32 minutes. So just the other day I went out, my kayak. It's in the Barnegat Bay. There's boats and other things. But it was early in the morning. Weren't a whole lot of people out there. The water was flat. And I started paddling, and I was making good time. And then a boat came by going across this way. And I'm coming this way. So what do I encounter in the kayak? Lots of waves, up and down. You got to paddle through the waves. Okay. I kept paddling, got around halfway through the island. I was at, I don't know, about 13 and a half minutes. And I'm like, maybe it was 14 minutes. I don't quite remember, but I was under 15. And I'm saying, I'm halfway through this thing. I might be able to break 30 minutes. But you don't break 30 minutes by saying, maybe I can't do it. Nobody cared whether or not I could paddle that or not. The only person who cared was me. So I start paddling harder. Obviously, I'm more tired than when I started. But I start paddling harder because that's what an athlete does. And I get to the last part where you come out of the island, and it's right where boats that are also going through are allowed to start making wake. And there's this boat, as I'm paddling, that's just trolling, right? He's going slow in a no wake zone. And then I get into the more open area out of like the lagoon, and he gives it gas. And now I have like a minute and a half. I've got to get to that other shore to finish the circumnavigation of the island. And now I'm fighting these giant waves in my kayak, paddling as hard as I can. And I made it. I broke 30 minutes. It was a personal accomplishment that nobody in the world cares about or will ever know about except me. But I didn't get there by saying, oh, look, the waves are hard. My arms are tired. I don't really feel like this. Now it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I can't do it. And that's what people wanted Gerrit Cole to do. Now, I know they'll say, well, Paul, you weren't pitching in a big game against the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's irrelevant. It's the same mental fortitude. It's the same thoughts that go through the mind of every single athlete, especially the ones who are professionals. You have to say as a professional, I can, I will. They didn't get where they were by saying, I cannot do this. Gerrit Cole will believe until the day he throws his final pitch that he can get the guy out who he's facing. Because that's what he's made of. It's not Gerrit Cole's job to say to Aaron Boone, I don't think I can do it. Because Gerrit Cole's not going to say that. Gerrit Cole is going to say, I will get him out. And it's the manager's job, with the advice and consent of his coaches and the catcher, the one who should know the pitcher better than anyone else besides the pitcher, to say he doesn't have it anymore. You need to take him out. That was not Gerrit Cole's fault that he gave up the home run. You can even argue it wasn't Aaron Boone's fault, the coach's fault, and the catcher's fault because they trusted an ace pitcher. I have less problem with that. But if you have to blame somebody, you have to blame the people who are watching him, not the athlete himself. We should never criticize the athlete himself for wanting to play. Who is probably the least liked Yankee as far as performance goes this century? Think about who the most disliked Yankees are regarding performance this century. And think about the things that they have in common. A lack of hustle, a willingness to sit down, no energy, long stays on the disabled list. Maybe the most reviled Yankee of the 20th century was Carl Pavano. Did Carl Pavano ever say, "Give me the ball. I can do it. I want to go out there"? He did not. Carl Pavano said, I think I don't feel good. This hurts, that hurts. And maybe they did. Maybe the guy was just perpetually injured. But that's not how Yankee fans and baseball fans remember Carl Pavano. They call him American Idol, as an idol, like not moving. Not idol like I-D-O-L. You're my idol. Like an engine that is idle. And why did they call him that? Because he didn't have that give me the ball mentality. The great heroes in sport are the ones who say, "Give me the ball." The great heroes in sport are not the ones who say, "Yeah, coach, I can't get this guy out. I think I ought to come out of the game." It befuddles me that there are Yankee fans that do not understand that. Crazy. I have this box of baseball cards. I said before the show, I said, you know what I'm going to do? We're going to open baseball cards and have some fun. They're from it doesn't say on the box. What year are these? Like 87, 88, something like that. Does it say on the side here? 1988. Don Mattingly. Did Mattingly epitomize the idea of I'm going to play, or did Mattingly epitomize the idea of, I don't want to play. I can't play. Just think about it. All right, my friends, we're at the 33-minute mark. Yankees will be kicking off a series with the Pittsburgh Pirates tonight. I think the Yankees will do well. People keep saying, well, the Pirates are tough. Pirates aren't tough. Well, they're better than they have been. Okay, they are. The Yankees should be able to handle teams like the Pirates easily. The Yankees will make the playoffs. They'll go through good streaks and bad streaks. Brian Cashman will make some deals. No matter what he does, there will be Yankee fans that say, oh, what a deal. Amazing. Just like when the Yankees got Ryan Weathers. I noted that Ryan Weathers was a pitcher who does not win. Ryan Weathers' record this year, 3 wins, 7 losses. But no matter what happens, I'm telling you, no matter what happens with the trade deadline, the Yankees will get a player. Doesn't matter if his career record is 4 wins and 900,000 losses, or his batting average over his career is 211. or his defensive metrics are poor, no matter who Brian Cashman gets, there will be Yankee fans go, the guy has lost 900,000 games. But his earned run average plus overall in games he's won in sunny days during odd number years when the sun shines, whatever, I don't know, is 211. He's 111% better than the average pitcher in situations like that. Now, I know the guy's lifetime batting average is 211, but when against left-handed pitchers who primarily throw screwballs in cold weather days in October, he's a 435 hitter. And he will dominate the postseason, right? But we can be sure that the Yankees will make some moves at the trade deadline. Some of them will be good. I happen to think most of them will be milquetoast. Jake Bird. The Yankees got Jake Bird. He really could be good. Hasn't been. Yankees got Ryan McMahon. I really think Ryan McMahon's going to hit a lot. He never hit in his whole life. But, coming to Yankee Stadium with the short left right field porch, blah, blah, blah. We'll get to the trade deadline stuff. It's all fun. But I say there'll probably be a less exciting trade deadline because usually they are less exciting for the Yankees. They're probably not going to go get some great players. I don't think they have the wherewithal to get great players. I don't think they have the depth in the minor leagues. Anybody who believes in the Yankee minor leagues is foolish. And the other GMs understand that. All hype. So I don't see the Yankees being able to get major big-time talent. But anyway, unless they decide to take big-time talent, expensive players, Manny Machado, Francisco Lindor, stuff like that in return to allow another team not to have to pay them. Typical Yankees get big-time expensive players after they're past their prime. This is how they operate now. But over the last 3 weeks, Machado's hit 437. He'll be able to keep that up for the rest of the year. But whatever they do, some fans will be excited and believing and showing statistics to prove that whoever the Yankees got, even if they pick up me, that guy, he's 58 years old, but he's got a fastball that every now and again tops 61 miles an hour. And when it does, I'm telling you, the guy's unhittable. There will be people that whatever the Yankees get will be excited and look for the good. And you know what? That's a good thing. It's a good thing in life to look for the good. That's what I want everybody to do always. Even when you're criticizing the Yankees. Because we're fortunate that we can spend time talking baseball and rooting for a team that we love, even if we find them to be terribly boring and frustrating to watch. That we can spend time rooting for a team and watching a team and hoping they can do great. Be kind. Remember to visit Artemisia Publishing, by the way, apbooks.net. They have published great books. Go there. Buy lots of them, including the ones I've written. Be kind. Be generous. Show love. Appreciate everything. Appreciate the fact that we can complain about the Yankees. Be kind, be generous, give love. When we give love, it comes back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. And that, my friends, is what it's all about. Have yourself a wonderful day.